I forgot to put in my earplugs and I shot one round. Yeah, it's like, they get the wine in there.
Have you ever shot at an ally by mistake? Have you ever been shot at by an ally? I want to serve! I don't want to get served, you know?
Welcome back, everybody, to Shift Fire, the exploration and appreciation of military culture. I'm Israel Wright, former Green Beret.
Cameron Pfaff, former Army Ranger, here to answer questions in a segment we like to call Interrogating Cam and Israel. Now, without further ado, let's start answering some questions.
Nick Cage.
Okay, this one comes from N.A. Polakanis. Sorry if I butchered the name. With games like Call of Duty that feature exosuits and General Dynamics developing an autonomous robots, what's a piece of future tech you'd like to see implemented in the military?
Transporters, like in Star Trek.
Very cool. Mech suits, like in Edge of Tomorrow. I mean, there's actually a lot of tech that's being, implemented and tested right now. Like, you can go online and see the new Army goggles, integrated weapon systems that are really fancy.
Like AR kind of thing?
Yeah, so it's augmented reality and they combine like thermal with night vision and they have weapon stuff like that is attached and integrated on the soldier. I think those are crazy looking. It's very cool to see the future tech that's being implemented within the forces right now. Looking forward to see what they come up with. But yeah, mech suits, teleporters. Next question.
Matt Wren wants to know, during joint operations with other branches or other countries' militaries, has there ever been a time where playful banter turned serious?
There's actually one thing, but it wasn't with really like another branch. But with the SDF, one time, there was this one guy, he was like the village idiot, that they just like gave a radio that didn't work because they wanted to make him feel special. So that's kind of painting the picture. We also caught him taking a shit on our airfield at nighttime, and it's stupid because when a helicopter comes in, rotor wash will send that flying. So it's like, this guy sucks! Obviously, cultural differences and whatnot in the Middle East with women and knowing their place, if you will. One time in the CCP, he was in there, and the female surgeon, the lieutenant colonel, touches him from behind, and he turned around and literally just slapped her into the next world.
My goodness.
Yeah, no, just rocked her and we're all like, yo, what the
You get on him?
Oh, yeah, and she's like, no, it's okay, it was my fault.
No, it's not okay.
She's like, it was my fault.
No.
That's the only incident that I remember that, like, different countries or something got physical.
Yeah.
But, like, it was just a cultural thing. Like, he didn't like to be touched.
Wow, heavy duty, man.
Yeah.
I had nothing like that happen to me. I mean, I went to Iraq, got to do some trips to Korea, South Korea, Cambodia, things like that. And we were always with, like, kind of military dudes. And, there's that automatic rapport that you kind of have with people in the military, no matter what country you're from. And so never was presented with any opportunities or any situations where there was like this weird kind of like cultural differentiation or whatever. But no, always had a good time. So nothing really for me.
Anton Edelson wants to know, how does Cameron manage to look younger and more handsome as time goes by? What's your secret? All right.
Wait a minute, what about me?
We can do an entire episode on this if you would like.
Sun's out, your buns out, my guns out.
Cardio and you moisturize. That's it, man. That's the secret to success. And have a fiance that takes really good care of you.
Hey.
Yeah, that's... Love you, babe. Okay, moving on.
That was easy. Yukimaru wants to know, I'm not from the US, so I wanted to ask whether second lieutenant stereotypes were true or not, at least in the US Army. You mean like officers not knowing what's going on?
Like them getting lost all the time?
Yeah.
Or them just being terrible human beings?
Or thinking they're getting a little too big for their britches?
Or telling senior non-commissioned officers how things go and how the Army works? Yeah, like those stereotypes?
Those stereotypes?
I mean, in my opinion, there's a reason why stereotypes are a thing.
Sure.
It's like you encounter something enough with a specific type of person, that's when you get these belief systems.
Right.
So I can't say that, no, that never happens, otherwise there wouldn't be a stereotype for it.
Yeah.
But I was fortunate enough to be in regiment, so we only got the top 1% of the infantry officers, right?
Yeah.
So we were very fortunate, never had a bad officer. Going to the National Guard now, in the scout section required a senior PL, so someone that knew what was doing, and every PL I had really meshed well with the culture of the scouts and the snipers and everything, so we never had a problem. Or they came in extremely humble, because when you go into recon, it's completely different from regular infantry stuff. Like you literally have to relearn everything. You got to rewrite the book essentially. So the PLs we got all came in really humble, really like looking to learn new things and really relying on the NCOs to give them a good example of how things go and to educate them. But that doesn't mean that there aren't bad ones out there, because the stereotypes are still around.
Right. I am in the same boat. I had the good fortune of being with some really good officers. I mean, they knew what their function was and what their purpose was on the team, and they were happy to help facilitate the senior NCOs to get done what they needed to get done. And so, yeah, the stereotypes are out there because obviously, like you say, they wouldn't exist if there weren't somebody out there creating them. But fortunately, I got to dodge a lot of those guys.
Yeah.
Ator wants to know, on deployment, what did you do to kill time when bored or you didn't have anything to do, like watching movies or just daydreaming or stuff like that?
Movies are big. We watch 3 or 4 movies a day on deployment.
A lot of bootleg movies over there.
Yes.
Back in my day, in 2008, guy in the theater somewhere in Malaysia, scanning the movie.
Oh, I thought you were like hand puppets. Like that's how old you were.
No, little shadow puppets against the wall, the firelight in the cave. Yeah.
Yeah. Another big thing is like, did you guys ever do platoon impersonations?
No. Team was a lot smaller, so
Really?
there weren't a lot of people that could be gone.
Yeah.
And then you could impersonate them because everyone was kind of always hanging out.
No, that's the thing. So it was
right in front of them.
It was a culminating event at the end of deployments where all the privates had to rehearse. Like it was the one time that they could like get back at the team leader and like make everyone laugh. So they would practice doing impersonations, so at the end of deployment they would all come together and all the privates would do the impersonations of the leadership with little to no consequences.
Kind of like Black Hawk Down style.
But I won't say that, there was 0 consequences, because there's always that one team leader that's just like, I don't f***ing sound like that. And the private's like, I don't f***ing sound like that. And then it goes like that. That would be a good thing to pass by time. Working out.
Yeah, working out a lot. Actually, I was pretty lucky. We were able to bring over our video game systems.
Oh yeah, no, Xbox.
A laptop
Halo
there.
3.
Yeah.
Halo 3, my team leader literally would wake me up because nobody else could play with him, and he'd be like, you're playing Halo 3 right now. And I'm like, okay, so get out of here. He's like, you're playing Halo. I remember as a private, you had to be forced to play Halo. And then another thing is, we were actually really lucky in Syria that our base was so small and there was nobody there to really build it up. Like there was no contract. We had a little bit of contractors, but like we were doing projects every day. Like we were building stuff. I remember I became an expert forklift driver because we had all the 120 mortars stacked up and we always needed to drive them over to the mortar firing point so they can shoot them. So I would be like stacking mortar rounds, like 50 rounds on a pallet and just like forklifting and driving them around. So I got really good at driving a forklift on deployment. But yes, stupid shit like that.
Yeah.
This one comes from King to Monkey, and King to Monkey wants to know, if you guys didn't join the military, what do you think your life would be like instead? Oh man, I'd be in jail.
I shudder to think, yeah.
Yeah, dude, I was such a piece of shit in high school. Like I thought I was so cool. Honestly, a lot of people don't know about me. Actually, I knew what I would be doing. When I was in high school, I was on a professional dance team. Yes, and we were nationally ranked, and I was quite good. So most likely I would still be dancing, which is so weird to say.
Hammer in the dance.
Yeah, I was such a boy in high school because I knew how to dance. I thought it was so cool. Yeah, I would probably be pursuing dancing still because I was good at it and like threw everybody through a loop. They were like, "Are you sure you want to join the military? Like you're such a good dancer." And I was like, "I want to serve. I don't want to get served." You know?
For me, to be honest, right before I joined the military, I was a bit of a leech. Like I was living with family. I was like doing background work, which obviously didn't pay too well. I wanted to be an actor, but I didn't really have a plan as to how to approach that. Yeah, how to be an actor. I'm very thankful for my time in the military because it helped me to mature, it toughened me up a little bit.
Yes.
Gave me some adversity, and I hadn't really had a lot of that in my life up to that point. Everything had been pretty easy. It kind of just been handed to me, I hadn't had a lot of adversity, and so without that adversity and those trials that I went through in the military, I don't think I'd like
Yeah, man, I don't want to think about it. I don't want to think about it because I think I grew into such like a man when I got out of the military.
Toughens you up.
Yeah, it toughened you up. It gave you some morals. It showed you what's right. It gave you adversity. You were exposed to every culture in the United States, man. Like, I think military are some of the most inclusive dudes ever.
Even just the United States, there's a lot of diversity.
Oh, absolutely.
Socioeconomic and ethnic and all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
Everybody comes to the military.
And you're the same. Everybody makes the same money. Everybody wears the same. Everybody's got the same haircut.
Very unifying kind of atmosphere.
Yeah.
You know?
So, yeah, I don't even want to think about it.
I'm sure I'd be out in Hollywood in some apartment, like still trying to be an actor.
Yeah, a studio apartment with 3 roommates.
Yeah,
just trying
3
to,
roommates. Just kind of thinking, this
passing
is
by
life.
Netflix every day going, you know, one day I'm going to be there.
Yep, going to acting class tonight, you know.
Awesome. Okay, this question is from Indy, and they would like to know, given the amount of gunfire and simulated explosions trainees are exposed to, how do they avoid developing hearing loss before they're even deployed?
Really good ear pro.
Yeah, you have PPE, right? You have protective equipment that the Army issues you as far as ear pro and eye pro and gloves. If you're doing anything that has an elevated risk level, so moderate, severe, all that good stuff, it's safe to say that if you're working with live ammunition or any type of explosive device, that you're gonna be on full PPE, helmet, kit, gun, gloves, all that good jazz.
Yeah, one of the things about the Army is it's very regimented and very streamlined. So there's a procedure for everything.
Yeah, you do PCIs, PCCs, which are pre-combat inspections, pre-combat checks, so making sure everybody's got, you know, the proper equipment before they go out on mission. Everybody's got batteries in their shit. Everybody's got things that you're gonna need that's gonna save their life and amplify and make sure their tools are all in the right spot and functioning.
I can tell you, I had just a singular incident that helped me to appreciate all the protective gear that we had. I was doing OP4 in a training exercise, so I was the bad guy and had an AK with just blank fire rounds, right? Not even all that loud, but I forgot to put in my earplugs and I shot one round. I shot one round off. Yeah, it's like, you know, they get the wine in there.
You know, being in special operations, you're given a little bit better equipment. So like we had the Peltors that, you know, amplify sound around you, but then take it away when it reaches a certain decibel. But when I was in Ranger School, I couldn't use that stuff, and I would always carry the 240. So walking around with softies in, you know, kind of defeats the purpose of patrolling when you got to keep your head on a swivel and you got to do SEALs, which is stop, look, listen, smell. Listen, I can't listen with ear pro, and if we got in a skunk, I couldn't like tell the enemy to time out so I could put my ear pro in. So I would just shoot the 240 with no ear pro most of the time, and just literally either turn my head away and plug my ear and like do this thing as I'm shooting, because they're blanks and it's Ranger School, so you don't even know where you're shooting because there's no bullets coming out. That's the reason that Israel sounds like a mosquito buzzing around me most of the time. Yeah.
Cameron, are you ready to go to the last 2 questions?
What?
Cameron!
This question comes to us from Levi Smith, and Levi would like to know, what are the pros and cons of being in a relationship with someone outside of the military compared to someone who is serving with you? Well,
interesting.
This one I have a lot of personal experience with.
I have no experience. This isn't my problem. I didn't have that problem in the military.
So I was in long distance relationships in the military, which honestly was really cool because like I still had a lot of autonomy. I could still do what the military needed me to do, and I didn't have to be another place, right? I was right there. I just had to pick up a phone and send a text message or get on a phone call every now and then. So it wasn't hard. Now, being in a relationship like a marriage or something where you have your spouse and a family on base, that's more of a challenge, right?
Yeah.
Because you need to be present. That's one of those things that's super challenging, and I saw it happen a lot of time. I mean, the divorce rate, not only in special operations, but in the military is, I would argue, higher.
It's higher than average. Yeah.
Higher than average, just for the fact that whoever is in, man or woman serving, is away, and the military takes priority over everything in your life because they own your ass.
Right.
So the pros of it is that if you have the right partner, you have a support system. You have always something to look forward to when you go home. You have someone to lift you up on down days, which is an awesome thing, right? If you have kids, the kids are a treasure. But the cons are obviously, it takes work.
Yeah.
Like relationships,
Like any relationship.
Like any relationship, it takes work, it takes commitment. It's not just something that you can just have and expect to be there when you get home with little to no effort.
Yeah, they say that the hardest job in the Army is being an Army wife, you know, so it can be very difficult.
Or an Army husband.
Or an Army husband, yeah, hey, you know, we're not discriminating here. Being in the Army is not like having a regular job. Like he says, you sign your life away. If they tell you to go, you gotta go.
It's not a 9 to 5, it's a 24/7.
Yeah,
really.
exactly.
It's like you're never truly off duty. Even on the weekends, you're still representing the Army. You still go back to base if you live on base, you know, you still go back to the barracks if you live in the barracks. It's not something that once you take off your uniform, you know, you're done, right? It's something you're stuck in, and
Yep.
you have to continuously do it.
Challenging, but not impossible.
Nope. Next question. This one comes to us from Full Metal Jegging. Very interesting name. And they would like to know, have you ever shot at an ally by mistake? Have you ever been shot at by an ally? I have never shot at any allies. It's been very close because one time when they liberated Raqqa, when I was in Syria, we're chilling in the ready room or like in our little bunk room, like watching TV, and all of a sudden we hear a hailstorm of bullets. Like people going cyclic and everybody starts freaking out. We like go man our positions. I jump on the 50 cal with like a big old EOTech on it. It had slack rounds, which are 50 cal rounds that on impact blow up. So like if anything's going on, I'm on the right gun. And we see this like convoy of vehicles coming down the main MSR, and we're like ready to get into a Black Hawk Down scenario. There was like at least 4 or 5 large vehicles with the entire backs full of packs. They're literally coming down the street ripping rounds off in the air. So we're like, what the f is going on? And like right when we're about to open up, they're like, no, that's the SDF. They're just celebrating by shooting their guns in the air that they just, cleared Raqqa. So that was really close to coming to engaging them. And then another thing is when we first got there, one SDF guy accidentally ND'd an RPG like 100 meters over our heads. That's literally like day one. Like I was on Advon and we got this here. We were doing the handover with 175 and we're like sitting there talking, all of a sudden you hear boosh, and we're like, what the? Everybody runs around and we're like getting in the position. Like that happened a lot of times overseas. And then pretty much come to find out, this like little technical like rolls up next to the base and this dude stands up with like an expended RPG and he's like pointing at it and he's like,
And that was me.
it was me, sorry.
My bad.
Yeah, so that was an accident, but keep you on your toes.
We never had any incidents like that. The closest I ever got to being shot at was in basic training. One of the lanes that they put you through was a live fire exercise. Basically, you are crawling through the barbed wire and running around,
What
and they're
was
shooting
that?
rounds above your head. But they're shooting rounds like 30 feet above your head.
Yeah,
Like
if you
you
stood
could
up-
jump up and get one man on top of another, and you still wouldn't be in danger of being hit.
Yeah, they're pretty high up
It was
there.
mostly just to kind of help
Confidence
you
course.
confidence course.
Yeah.
They're firing live rounds, and you got to do your thing and stuff.
low
But
crawl.
there was no real danger. By the time I got into Iraq, we'd already been there for 5 years. So everyone that we worked with had been well trained, or at least we didn't let them near a gun. So that didn't ever happen. So
That's funny, man. Well, folks, that's all the questions we have for this episode of Interrogating Cam in Israel. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope you enjoyed this episode just as much as Israel and I enjoyed answering your awesome questions. If you have a question that you want to see featured on a future episode of Interrogating Cam in Israel, go ahead and leave a comment. Let us know, or maybe answer some of the questions that were featured on this episode. We'd love to hear your guys' stories. Again, as always, like this video, subscribe to the channel to stay up on the latest from all things shift fire. And finally, stay sexy, fire team. Do your cardio, moisturize, and we'll catch you on the next one. We also caught him taking a on our airfield at nighttime, and it's stupid because when a helicopter comes in, rotor wash will send that flying. So it's like, this guy sucks.